Currently today, on the 19th of December 2019, Sydney is facing an oppressive heatwave. This is a day of extreme smoke and fire danger. I am reading an article by Emma Ellsworthy, which is an article on ABC News online. I'll read out this article and occasionally interject some of my own viewpoints. 2 bushfires have flared and are threatening homes, and temperatures are starting to climb towards 40 degrees Celsius across Greater Sydney as the city sizzles in extreme fire and heatwave conditions. This is almost getting to the point where it is unbearable here in Sydney, for there's been this extreme heat, this high burning sensation everywhere, and also this thick smoke throughout the city, which has been clogging up the airways and restricting people's respiratory systems, thus affecting people who have respiratory problems like asthma. An emergency warning is in place for the Tunjara fire, which is burning near Sussex Inlet on the state's south coast. The Rural Fire Service, RFS, said it is too late for residents in Jerrawangola and Wandandian to leave, and warned the fire may impact the Princess Highway and could cut off access to Sussex Inlet later today. The Green Wattle Creek fire burning to the southwest of Sydney is also at emergency levels, with residents in the town of Balmoral, southwest of Picton, were told it is too late to leave. Imagine being told that you just have to stay put. You can't. It's already too late to leave. That is, if I was one of those residents, I would be utterly terrified. That fire is expected to reach the Burnt Flat, Paling Flat, Long Flat, and Buleo areas today. Greater Sydney is bracing for a dangerous day of heat and fires, with temperatures set to climb as high as 45 degrees Celsius in the west, and firefighters are on alert for the entire perimeter of Sydney. So with increased heat, obviously, this has brought about more fears that fires may occur. At midday, Sydney's CBD had reached 36 degrees, Bankstown reached 38 degrees, Gosford reached 40 degrees, and Penrith reached 40 degrees. Premier Gladys Berejiklian this morning declared a state of emergency across New South Wales for the next 7 days. The biggest concern for us over the next few days is the unpredictability, the Premier said. With extreme wind conditions, extreme hot temperatures, we have a good idea, a good sense of where the most concerning areas are. But again, when you have got those turbulent conditions, embers and spot fires can occur very unpredictably. That being said, I think it is also important to monitor, to keep in mind people who deliberately light fires, arsonists who just want to watch the world burn, many of which are just children, right? Children who have nothing to do, just have a lot of spare time, and they go about lighting fires and thus causing damage to property and risk to injury and risk to life in general. So yeah, I think that has to be monitored, and if the children or whoever were caught in the act, they have to be severely punished, because you can't just have these life-threatening fires raging throughout the whole state. To continue, it is the second state of emergency the New South Wales government has declared since the start of the bushfire season. RFS Commissioner Shane Fitzsimon said 2,000 firefighters had already been deployed, but another 500 had been put on standby due to the extreme conditions. Whilst today is going to be a very bad day, a dangerous day here in New South Wales, the forecast is that Saturday will be even worse, Commissioner Fitzsimon said. We're talking about some very serious and dangerous conditions over the coming days. So, for all Sydney-siders and people living around bushfire affected region, just be careful. Don't do things that are too intensive, that are too physically intensive, and try your best to stay out of harm's way. If there's a fire, prepare safety exits in your house or building or wherever you live, and employ methods to help prevent fires in the first place. And also remember to keep cool as this heat wave is coming upon us. Just don't do anything irrational. Just abide by common sense, basically. Preliminary data suggests Australia recorded its hottest day on record on Tuesday with an average maximum temperature of 40.9 degrees Celsius. Gusty winds from northwest have blown a heatwave that is gripping central Australia to the east coast. This afternoon will bring a cool, strong southerly change, with winds set to travel up to 50 kilometers an hour. The Bureau of Meteorology, Neil Bennett, said much of the country has been affected by a dome of hot air. There is a significant burst of heat for much of the Greater Sydney and metropolitan area, grading from the coast to the Western Plains, so we would be looking at temperatures of 40 degrees Celsius for the CBD, he said. As we move out towards Parramatta, we're looking at 42 degrees. Once you get to the foothills out towards Penrith, you are looking at temperatures of 45 degrees Celsius, and Parramatta is set for a top of 42 degrees Celsius. Areas in regional New South Wales are also set to swelter, with Gloucester on the mid-north coast tipped to reach 41 degrees Celsius, Maitland in the upper Hunter 43 degrees, and Springwood in the central Tablelands 42 degrees. Mr. Bennett said Friday would bring some relief, but Saturday would heat up again with mid-40 degree weather throughout the state. A heat wave we are predicting today are moving through into Friday, and Saturday is going to be persistent, he said. Mr. Bennett said a heat wave was declared when the Bureau of Meteorology recorded consecutive days of abnormal heat. So yeah, just keep in mind of this dreaded and unpleasant heat that is throughout our entire city. In addition to high temperatures, gusty conditions are set to bring thick smoke across Sydney, with visibility and air quality expected to be severely impacted. Aviation forecasts suggest that at times through the day, visibility will drop to around 1,000 meters to 3,000 meters at Richmond Airport and 2,000 meters to 4,000 meters at times for Sydney Airport. ABC weather specialist Graham Creed said. So this is of course a hazard for pilots who are trying to fly their planes, because they can barely see less than 3 kilometers in Richmond and less than 4 kilometers in Sydney Airport. SafeWork New South Wales Executive Director Andrew Gavrilatos said the heat wave brought significant risks to the health and safety of the public. Many people simply don't notice the symptoms of heat stress, and by the time they are seriously impacted, the ability to self-assess is compromised, he said. Employers must take heat stress seriously, consult with your workers, and take action to ensure workers are not exposed to heat stress. So ultimately, for everyone living in the Greater Sydney area and anywhere affected by bushfire in New South Wales or throughout Australia, just remember to prioritize safety first, and don't do anything that is too physically demanding or would cause you to break a sweat or would bring you in harm's way with this heavy smoke that is outside. So yeah, stay safe, be careful, and don't do anything stupid. Bye bye.